A warm welcome to one and all. Today, let's see about the elements of Municipal Solid Waste Management Plan. Myself, Dr. V. Garvin Sharmila, Associate Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Rohini College of Engineering and Technology. First, let's see about Municipal Solid Waste Management. We know the solid waste management is highly associated with the control of waste generation, its storage, collection, transfer, transport, processing, disposal. So, in accordance with the best principle of public health, economic engineering, the proper environmental condition. So, the solid waste management process usually differ based on the economic status, the product which was derived from the manufacturer, social development, industrialization, and the quality of the life of people at the location. So this regional, seasonal as well as the economic differences influences the solid waste management process. So therefore a proper management strategy has to be framed which was economically viable and should be acceptable to carry out to the functions such as protection of environmental health, promotion of environmental quality, supporting the efficiency and the productivity of the economy, and also the generation of employment as well as the income. Let's see the functional element that constitute the system of solid waste management. First is waste generation. So the waste generation we already know. The waste generation is usually the waste has been generated at various stages of conversion of raw material into useful product. That is from the industrialized sector. The source of generation must be in a way it varies depends upon the quantity, composition as well as the characteristics. So the waste which was generated from the household area usually a biodegradable waste. In terms of industrial area used to have a toxic metals, chemicals as well as the inorganic inert substances. So based on that the solid waste management system must be identified and proper management tool has to be framed. Next is waste storage. The storage we know it is one of the major key functional element during the collection of the waste because the waste has been collected from each and every sector from the source of generation by the collection crew. Then they will separate or separate those waste which was removed from the each sector within the duration of 8 days and they store in a proper place and they used to separate the biodegradable material efficiently. So, the on-site storage of waste is an important and a crucial step to be considered since it involved in the public as well as the economic level of our country. So, the proper option must be chosen to store the plastic container, dustbins, and also the oil drum, large storage bin, etc. should be allocated to each section to collect the waste from each commercial, institutional as well as household waste individually in a proper and efficient manner. Next is waste collection. Waste collection is nothing, is a gathering or collection of waste from each and every location by means of the collection vehicle or by means of the collection crew members, and these vehicles as well as the crew member empty their waste from the smaller collection unit to the larger vehicle at the point of transfer station. So the transfer station is nothing, it's an intermediate junction which is between the collection sources of the smaller vehicle to the larger one. From this is the place where the segregation process and the processing plant as well as the disposal site are available. So the collection of waste mainly depends upon the number of container availability and also the frequency of collection of waste from each sector. That means it may be for each one day, once per day or twice per day based on the type of collection service, that is by means of the truck or by means of the hand pickers or by means of the collection vehicle handled by the mechanical manner or by means of the manual process, the compacted truck, non-compacted, etc. So there are various services are available. And also the routing we know there are three sets of routing: micro, macro as well as the districting routing. So based on by utilizing these all facilities The collection member you collect the waste from each and every sector with the proper arrangement and the services which was allocated by the government in the form of contract or in the form of services. Next is transfer and transport. In this, the waste has been transferred from the smaller vehicles to the larger one. The major problem associated with this is while transferring, usually the vehicle has to be collect the waste from the smaller zone to the larger zone to the longer distance. That is, the disposal site will be longer than the collection site or the transfer station, which may affect the operation and the capacity of the proper management of the waste. So the proper waste to energy conversion as well as the resource recovery recycling process must be done properly and efficient manner. So important processing techniques that has to be implemented prior to the transport are the compaction, thermal volume reduction, manual separation of the waste component, incineration, composting. These are all the technique which enables the reduction in the volume of the waste that has to be taken for the final disposal site. Next is processing. The processing is nothing, is a changing the physical and the chemical characteristics of the waste mainly for recovering the energy and for recycling process. As I said earlier, the important processing techniques are compaction, thermal volume reduction, manual volume separation and component separation, incineration, composting, etc. At last is waste disposal. The disposal we know, which is the last and the final stage of the solid waste management practices, because the waste from the each and individual sector from the municipal, industrial, institutional sector has been initially treated and then it was properly managed in an efficient way prior to the disposal site, and then it was further treated finally at the spot of landfilling process, which is the final stages of the disposal site. So the modern landfill process which was allocated for the waste disposals are create the proper management practices, but it has a negative impact of creation of nuisance and hazardness to the public. So proper engineering construction has to be framed and proper site has to be sealed with the proper liner and everything, and which may reduce the operation as well as the proper functioning of the waste management practices under economical condition. So the cost of separation of the recovered material should also be considered, and it should have recovered material like glasses, plastic, paper can be recycled and they have the economical value which added benefit of the solid waste management practices. Then waste disposal. So after the disposal of waste to the final site of location, the disposable waste should be in a form so that enables the easy processing of the waste at the landfill. That means the proper management of the waste by reduction in the volume, proper selection of the landfill site, design, operation of the landfill process should be monitored with the perfect regulatory measure. The proper covering should be provided at the site to avoid the exposure to the vermins, and also the solid waste management has the solid waste management has a final stage of residue left out in the form of soil or in the form of crude residual soil should be used for the reclaimed land purpose. These are all the elements which was discussed prior slides in the solid waste management rule plans: generation, on-site handling and storage, collection, transfer and transport, processing and resource disposal, which was present in the form of flowchart. Thank you.